What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's time to cool things off. Now, last week I got a couple new parts in the mail. Nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting, but nevertheless, new parts is always cool and fun. Today's video is going to be installing a new 180-degree thermostat into the Mustang. These 2-valve Ford Mustangs, stock, the thermostat is 195 degrees. Now, what that means is the coolant in your engine is going to stay in there until it gets to 195 degrees, give or take a degree or two. Once it hits that temperature, your thermostat will start to open up. By opening up, it will allow the coolant to run through the cooling system, which will be the radiator. Until then, the coolant is just going to stay inside the engine block. So by going down to 180 degree thermostat, it will allow the car to start running the coolant through the radiator sooner, which at the end of the day will help out by keeping the engine temp cooler longer. Some vehicles' location may vary a little bit, but all in all, most late model vehicles are going to be somewhere around the same. So just go ahead and find it. Mine is right here, the water neck, and there's 2 bolts holding it on. They're 10 millimeter. I'm going to go ahead, use my pliers, and move this hose clamp back a little bit so I can go ahead and take this top hose off. I have a towel right here that I'm going to use to lay underneath it a little bit, just so any little bit of coolant that does come out when I go to take this hose off won't get all over everything. Now, if you're having trouble getting your hose off and you don't want to rip it or break it, first try to grab it and turn it side to side as you're pulling it back slowly. If it's still not budging up here, take a very thin flat tip and try to insert it and pry it up a little bit. Mine was pretty stuck on there, so I went around the whole thing with my screwdriver, and now it's pretty loose. It's just about ready to come out. It's moving. The whole thing's moving. So I'm gonna go ahead, take that out. Got my towel here, ready to go. Shoo! You can smell that sweet smell of coolant. I had my towel there, and it still got everywhere. And then I tried to grab this hose and lift it up, and I was gonna set it up against here on the side. And the higher I lifted the hose, the more coolant came out of here, just because the flow of gravity. So just remember that. Be careful. So with this sitting right there, it stopped coming out. Seems like it's in a pretty good spot. Just gonna have to clean up my mess. Anyways, this is a thermostat I got, Motorade. It's 180 degree high flow thermostat. There's other ones. I don't recommend going too cool because you still want your engine to be at a normal operating temperature. You know, I wouldn't go in and throw anything lower than a 180. That, I think, is ideal. Woo! Finally got it off. That was a pain. I had to leave this bolt in there. I've had to take off these 2 bolts and bend this bracket a little bit, unless I want to take off the whole entire bracket, which that's just too much work just to replace something so simple. So if you want, you can take off this whole bracket. It kind of does support the alternator. There's another bracket for it though. I just didn't want to take off all of them, so I took off these 2, used a screwdriver, placed it in here just to lift this up a little bit, enough to be able to get to this. And instead of trying to get that back screw out, I took it out with the screw still attached. That one's stuck in there pretty good. Okay, I want to show you exactly how I had to use this to get this freaking thermostat out of here. It was stuck in there but good. Here's the rubber gasket. I was trying to get that off, but I used my pliers, got my pliers, stuck it on the top of it, tried to pull it out, wouldn't come out, spun it. I could get it to spin in there, I just couldn't get it to break loose. I was trying to get the rubber gasket off with this flat tip. It just, you could hear it starting to tear, so I stopped doing that. And I put my small flat tip in the center of it like you see it, and I just started pounding on it, and finally it released and kicked up. But it took probably a good 15 smacks of my hand to finally get it to pop up like that. So just go ahead, See, this gasket's just stuck in there. Nasty. There's the old. I'm going to clean up this surface and then install the new one. Okay, I got the surface all nice and clean and wiped up. So I'm going to go ahead and just start installing the new parts the same way you took out the old parts. In goes the thermostat, just like so. And then the gasket, the flat part, is going to go facing down. The pointed part, the part that sticks up a little bit, it's raised. That part is the part that's going to seal to the neck. Now just go ahead and stick on your neck. Now with that better, just make sure it's sitting down flush. And you can go ahead and start tightening up your bolts. With this bracket here, this one's a pain in the butt, so I mean, if you do want to remove the bracket, it would be easier. Or you can do it my way, which isn't really the right way, but it gets the job done. I'm going to go ahead and just tighten up these bolts, and then we'll be almost done. Okay, I got the 2 bolts for the bracket, the 8mm put back in. Got the 2 10mm bolts for the water neck put in. Now, it's time to go ahead and connect the upper radiator hose to the water neck. That's simple. Take your pliers. I'll try to line it up to where it was at before, just so you're not making a bunch of different impressions into the hose. There you go. Now, if you didn't get fluid everywhere all over the place like I did, go ahead, start up the car. Just make sure there's no leaks. I would say let the car run for a little bit. If you can, if possible, get it up to 180 degrees if that's what you got your thermostat for. And just make sure everything's flowing okay. And a good rule of thumb, I forgot to mention this though, but on your new thermostat, you can take it and put it into a pot of boiling water and see if it opens up, then take it out and see if it closes. That way you know you have a good working thermostat before you even go ahead and put it in the car. But this is the one I got, 2028-180 Motorrad. I got it off Amazon. I want to say 10-15 bucks, somewhere right around there. And if it helps a little bit, especially here in Florida in the summertime, being at the track and stuff like that, it does go over 200 for sure. And I have my tuner where it kick on the fan at 200 just to try to keep the temps down a little bit. I had it kicking on, I think, at 212. I think stock it kicks on around 220. I'm not 100% sure. But I had it kicking on at 212, and then about a month ago I dropped it down to have it kick on at 200. If I'm driving on the interstate or something like that, it'll never reach that. You know, usually it's 180, 185. The thermostat usually never even opens up. But when you're in traffic on a hot summer day, or you're at the track beating the piss out of it, it will get warm. So hopefully this will help keep the temps down a little bit, even if it helps it just to keep it cooler for longer, you know, and getting up to that hot, maybe we won't really reach it, you know, and if we do, it won't be for as long. Got a couple more videos to do. Got another part sitting right here that's going to be my next video. Just trying to keep up with it. That's how to install a thermostat in most late model vehicles. This was on my 2002 Ford Mustang GT with the 4.6 liter. I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches all my videos. If you like this video or if it's useful, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and make sure your notification bell is on also. Next time, peace.